I want to talk to my overthinkers right now and all my anxiously attached folks that have high senses of anxiety where you got to control everything. Or if the circumstance around you is not perfect, you don't feel safe. Or you rely on people, more importantly, maybe your partner, to feel that sense of security and reassurance. And if they don't give it to you, you're in a rough spot, right? It's not because you're weak. It's not because you're broken. It's not because there's something wrong with you. It's because long ago, you subconsciously taught yourself that you require external resources, people, circumstance, or controlling things in order to feel a sense of safety and security for yourself. So I'm going to teach you right now how to build that sense of security internally so you don't have to do so much external work. And I really want to break this down and teach this to you because I know it matters most to you and it's most useful to you in the most difficult moments where you're overthinking at the highest level, right? Where you're really concerned and you're really working yourself up and or being worked up by the situation or what have you. And you feel really scared and you feel completely unsafe, right? You feel like you're floating in limbo. You don't know what to do, right? And the physical experience you wind up having is a very, very emotionally draining one and stressful one. And it's just not pleasant, right? Or whenever your anxiety's through the roof, right? And it's almost paralyzing in a way. I don't want you to be in that spot again. So let's start here. See, the first thing you have to learn how to do is reset your state, right? Meaning you have to reclaim control over your body. See, when you're going through these moments, anxiety hijacks your system, right? It takes control. And you can't think clearly if you can't be calm. See, the first thing people try to do when they're going through that overthinking space or they're getting worked up anxiously is they try to think, what do I do? They start trying to do all this thinking. Their mind starts racing. You start, doing all the hoops and hurdles and the backflips and the somersaults in your mind. But it's going to be really ineffective if you can't regulate the vessel that these thoughts are coming out of. So when you feel yourself going into one of these spaces, one of these modes, I want you to stop and take slow, deep breaths. Your goal here is to regulate your nervous system so that your mind doesn't lead you into panic based off of false alarms, or at least alarms that are not as serious as maybe you're experiencing them in that moment, right? The point here is you have to change your physiology. The more you can take control back to what your body's doing, the more you can regulate better and actually bring yourself to a state that's more functional to think through things more effectively. So when you're able to stop and slow things down and take those deep breaths, right? And even change your posture, put yourself in a more confident position, like stand. The one of the best things to do is people use like the Superman pose, right? Stand with your hands on your hips and your chest up, right? Just like a superhero. And take those deep breaths while you're doing it. And the reason why this is effective is because, one, your emotions, your mental, physical, and emotional are all tethered together. So they play off of each other. They influence each other. So the way you use your body heavily helps dictate the thoughts you start to have as a result and the feelings you have. So whenever you stand in a posture that your body recognizes as strength and as power, it tends to feed your mind better thoughts and regulate your emotions better or help you to do so. And when you slow your breathing down, you take control back as to the pace that you're moving at. Because whenever we start overthinking or we get really anxious, we're usually breathing fast or we're jittery and all the things. But if you slow your breathing down, you slow your body down. Really important. Point in case, you can't outthink anxiety whenever you're in survival mode. It will not work. Your higher faculties are turned off and you're in panic survival mode, which means you're going to be thinking a lot of irrational thoughts and extreme thoughts, right? You have to breathe your way back to clarity and use better postures to set your state where you want it to be. That's a lot more workable. And now after you started regulating your breathing and you have your posture a little bit better and more serving to you, now that comes the second step while you're in the middle of doing this process, which is you need to ground yourself in the truth. And your focus here is to separate what's actually real or accurate from fear. Because whenever you're going through an overthinking or anxious space, they all kind of blend together. So in this space, I want you to ask yourself questions like, what do I know to be actually true in this moment versus the rest that I'm just filling in without the facts to support it, right? Or am I actually in danger right now? Or am I just emotionally triggered? You have to really ask those questions and give them honest answers because you're looking for what's really there, what's factual that you can prove versus what is just thoughts. Because here's the thing, a thought without the facts is just a thought. It's not reality until you have something that gives it concrete evidence to be a reality. See, most of the time, anxiety builds from all the what ifs that have no current evidence to prove them, right? So whenever you do this effectively, what you're doing is you're disrupting the spiral that you're in and you're re-anchoring to logic. That doesn't mean that you're dismissing or ignoring your anxiety. You're just realigning and you're separating the facts from the stories you're telling yourself in your mind so you can have more clarity. Then comes the third step. You have to reconnect with your inner safe space, meaning you have to remember who the hell you are. See, most anxious people feel so unsafe in these kind of moments because they don't truly trust themselves to handle what might go wrong. But you have core strengths that you've had probably throughout your whole life that could help you so much right now in this moment if you start focusing more internally and remembering and acknowledging those things instead of being so externally focused and pumping your head up with what could go wrong and all the fear-based things that don't have the facts to them. So I want you to ask yourself this $1,000,000 question when you're in the middle of these moments, after you've regulated your breathing and after you separate the truth from the stories you're telling yourself in your mind. I want you to ask yourself, what's one truth about me that I've proven over and over again throughout my life? Maybe it's that no matter what happens, you've always bounced back stronger than ever. Nothing's ever broken you. Or maybe when anything goes wrong, you've always been great at figuring out a solution and how to combat it and how to, figure it out. Or maybe you've always been really good at decision making. So you actually rarely put yourself in the wrong kind of circumstance where you don't even need to control everything because you already do really good vetting work ahead of time. Or watch this. What if it's, I've been through much worse. What if you've been through something that was really terrible at one point in your life? You start comparing that next to this thing and you start asking yourself, is this really even that deep for me? Like, this is light work, right? I've seen way worse. This doesn't scare me, right? Whatever the answer to that question is, that becomes your anchor. That's your truth. That's your inner safe space. That's the thing you lean on. That's the thing that allows you to detach from requiring all these external things to be all puppeteered a certain way, or you need the people or your partner to always come and make sure you feel safe, and without them, you're instantly not safe, and all the things, right? That's how you don't have to worry every 2 seconds about what the circumstance around you is doing and how you're going to fare in it, right? When you stop and you remember who the hell you are and the strengths you've built through life that has got you this far already. You know how difficult it is to grow into your years and become an adult and keep going, right? People pass away, or they're just not making it at all, or they wind up in really rough circumstances. Maybe they're out of house and home and all the things because they just weren't able to figure out certain stuff, or, couldn't pull it together. But you're still here. You're still doing it. Maybe you've gone through really painful breakups and all the things in the past, but you're still here, right? It hasn't broken you yet. All the things. Maybe because you went through that stuff before, you can catch things sooner, right? And you can move around them better. Or you've always been someone that just has the answer to what to do next, right? Whatever it is, that's the thing that you hedge all your bets on. And it's so much more freeing because you carry that with you all day long, but you can't carry all the control for everything around you all the time. Life actually never works that way. There's very little we actually have control over and can dictate. The only thing we have the most autonomy to dictate and ownership over is ourselves if we choose to build a self-mastery to do it, right? So every time you place all the requirements on the circumstance, on your ability to control the circumstance, which is very slim to none, or your ability to have somebody come in, make you feel safe and secure, is the more you give your power away. You're just freely giving it to them to dictate how safe you can feel in your own skin, versus stopping and remembering what you already have that reassures you that no matter what's actually going on here, you'll be just fine. So here's a bonus affirmation I want to offer you right now to really apply when these moments come along that makes you want to overthink or feel that anxiety creeping up on you. I want you to say to yourself, I'm safe in this moment. Here's why. And fill in what the why is. I've survived every storm before. Here's how. I trust myself to handle whatever comes next. Here's why I know. And this is not just positive talk and it just sounds good and it's not, just fluff. It's rewiring, because we're not, notice, I didn't just say, tell you something that sounds pleasant, say, oh, I'm just safe and I'm just good. No, I told you to tell yourself why, right? Give some evidence behind why you know you're safe. Pulling from your inner safe space, right? The things you've done in life before that lets you know that you're good. And the truth that you separated from the stories you're telling yourself in your mind, right? More accuracy. And I've survived every storm before, right? Here's how. The how you've done it in the past, how you've used those strengths you have in the past. And I trust myself no matter what comes next. And here's why I know, right? Because you probably have experiences before, similar to this or relatable, that you actually have gotten through and you were just fine. You made it. You made it out, right? Trust in that. So I'm safe in this moment. Here's why. I've survived every storm before. Here's how. I trust myself to navigate whatever comes next. And here's why I know. Why I know I can. Your ability to have true security, safeness, and reassurance, to not overthink and not be anxious, is always with you and within you. It's never outside of you, no matter how much you want to convince yourself that it is. And if anything, the very fact that you feel the external aspects dictate your security internally is proof that you're the one that said it that way. You told yourself that you require them to feel that way, right? It's always your power and you can take it back whenever you choose to. If you need help learning how to take that power back, how to implement these tools and really build that muscle, because it is a journey sometimes. It's not an overnight thing. Then email or DM me the word coaching and we will get to work, as long as you're truly ready to put that work in. Let's get it.